about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. It's my birthday weekend. June 16th is my birthday. Thank you all for your birthday wishes. But we have to talk about something. I have said this before, and I'm going to say it again, because everybody's afraid to say something, and they forget about it until it's their birthday. But the happy birthday song, Happy Birthday to You, sucks. I can't stand the happy birthday song. I don't like singing it. I don't like it being sung to. And we all feel it. We all agree. Nobody says anything. One, we forget about it because there's so much else going on in life until you are at the restaurant or you are at a party and all of a sudden people go, happy birthday to you. And you're like, oh God, we're only 1/4 into the song. Happy birthday to you. And you're like, okay, please hurry. Oh gosh, how much longer is this going to be? Happy birthday, dear Daliah. And then somebody decides to put some smart aleck thing and prolong the pain. You're like, for the love of God, just please finish the song. Happy birthday to you. And then some idiot goes, and many more on Channel 4, which came from the 1960s or 70s. Channel 4 was in LA, I think. I don't know. And then you're like, oh, thank you. Yay. Thank you. I didn't want to have to sit there and listen to the song. It was off key and it's a stupid song. Now, and then for those of us that are singing it, we don't want to sing it. You know why I don't like singing it? Because somebody starts it in the wrong key. I have a lower key. So I'm like, happy birthday to you. And someone's like, happy birthday. And you're like, oh God, please. This isn't an opera. And so if it's not in my key, I'm not singing it. So I'm mouthing the words. And then somebody's like, Daliah, you're not singing. But it's not in my key. I'm not going to be off key for a stupid song. It's a stupid song. Where did it come from? I looked this up. Where did Happy Birthday come from? The Happy Birthday song came from, a school principal back in 1893. According to Wikipedia, Patty Hill and her sister Mildred composed a song, Good Morning to All. Good morning to all. Good morning to all. That ended up being the start of Happy Birthday to You. The complete text of Happy Birthday to You first appeared in print as the final 4 lines of Edith Goodyear Alger's poem, Roy's Birthday. Poor Roy. All right. It was published in her book, A Primer of Work and Play. It was copyrighted in 1901 by DC Health with no reference to the words being sung. But the first book, including Happy Birthday lyrics sent to the tune of Good Morning to All, that bears the date of publication, is from 1911. Now, I could think of something a lot more modern to sing. I'm not going to sing it, but I am going to work on it. I'm going to come up with another birthday song. The birthday song I used with my kids was what David Addison did in Moonlighting, right? Bruce Willis in Moonlighting. Right? God, what was that? The Beatles? Who was it? Da-na-na-na-na-na, today is your birthday. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. So that I like. That to me is a fantastic birthday song. And I would like that to take over the happy birthday to you. I'm like so sick of it. And yeah, and so it's my birthday and we're going to be kind of celebrating all weekend long. And I don't know how many times I'm going to have to listen to that stupid song. And I don't want to listen to the song. Can we please change it? Can we please change it? So why do we celebrate birthdays? I looked into the history of this. The history of birthdays is pretty fascinating. According to WCCO TV, ancient civilizations would coincide this with astrology, and religious groups were kind of slow to adopt them because of pagan rituals. But the ancient Greeks get most of the credit. All right. And because people thought that evil spirits lurked on days of major changes, the ancient Greeks believed that each person had a spirit that attended his or her birth and kept watch. That spirit had a mystic relation with the god on whose birthday the individual was born. And so sometimes I think the reason why we sing happy birthday to you is to scare the hell out of that spirit and make them flee. Because the birthday boy and birthday girl can't flee. We have to sit there and listen to the stupid song. Now, some of you will say, Dr. Daliah, you love being the center of attention. No, not for the song. No. Now, what I do like is there's a Mexican restaurant called Lindo Michoacan. And they will go, Feliz cumpleaños a ti, Feliz cumpleaños a ti. And you get to wear a big sombrero and you get to do a tequila shot. I'll take that. But I kind of need the tequila shot before the singing happens. Why do we have birthday cake? So according to, I want to give credit where credit's due, according to hankeringforhistory.com, birthday cakes have been used for celebratory, breads and cake for centuries. But the modern day birthday cake might have originated in Germany during the 1400s. You would put a ring or a coin or a button. And if you got that piece of cake and you didn't choke to death on it, that would be a sign of something in the future. So if you got coins, that means financial luck was in your future. If there was a ring, that would mean marriage would be in your future. If you got a button, bad news. Why do we blow out the candles? Again, to ward off evil spirits. So ancient cultures would do that because if you had an evil spirit around your birthday, we want a good year, let's just would use fire and a candle for that. In Germany, 1700s, they would adorn the birthday cakes with candles called Kinderfest. Kinder is kids, fest is festival. Each candle represented a year of life. What are the most popular birthday cake flavors? Chocolate. Why do we give gifts? Why not? And my birthday, June 16th. Happy birthday to me. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, don't go away.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey guys, it's Dr. Daliah. Fantasy football season is coming, but sadly, too many of you are taking the bench while the country takes part in one of the most exciting and lucrative industries out there. Don't know how to play? Well, huddle up and listen. Paul Kalikas and I have written a fantasy football pocket guide for beginners. This book walks you through the basics and shows you how simple and lucrative joining or creating a fantasy football team can be. Read our Fantasy Football Pocket Guide for Beginners found on Amazon or follow the links on X and Facebook. That's Fantasy Football Pocket Guides for Beginners. Don't be left out.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to TotalWellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. TotalWellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network, and big thanks to Daniel, our producer. To sunscreen or not to sunscreen? That is the question. And for years, people have been debating if sunscreen causes cancer. And I'm mixed on the topic. I've told you guys I'm mixed. I'll explain again what sunscreens are and sunblocks, but I don't want skin cancer. I don't want anybody in my family getting skin cancer. But when my boys were little and I was about to lather them up with chemicals and you could smell the chemical across the pool, I was like, let me put you in a water shirt so I could use less of this. And let's put you in a hat and let's try to limit the sun, because I don't want to be lathering you up every 30 minutes with these chemicals. Then I was asked back in the early teens, 2000 teens, yeah, not 1900, thank you people, about oxybenzone and its cancer risk. Oxybenzone is a chemical used in certain sunscreens. We have sunscreens and sunblocks. Sunscreens absorb the UV rays. Sunblocks reflect them. And so inorganic compounds like titanium dioxide or zinc oxide will scatter the UV rays. But organic compounds like PABA or oxybenzone will try to absorb the UV rays, alter them so they can't damage the skin. Well, with that, there have been a lot of public officials kind of scrambling to study, what do we know about oxybenzone? So, carcinogenicity is subjective. It shouldn't be. Something either causes cancer or it doesn't. Pretty slam dunk. But some people are claiming that sunscreen causes their skin cancer. Well, that's hard to prove, because if you're out in the sun and the sun is causing skin cancer, maybe the sunscreen staved it off. But what people don't want to do is to use 2-hydroxy-4-methylbenzophenone or oxybenzone and think that it's going to worsen our risk, or perfluorooctanoic acid. So I'm looking right now at something. This was from 2020, the National Institute of Environmental Health. And they say that the 2-H-4MB has widespread use. Exposure is higher in women. The chemical was given to rats and mice at 3 different concentrations. And the scientists looked for any evidence of tumors or other adverse outcomes. And NTP, which is the research group, found the following: equivocal or uncertain evidence of carcinogenic activity of this oxybenzone exposure in male rats. This was based on the low occurrence of benign or non-cancer causing tumors and membranes that cover the brain, which were not observed. There was equivocal evidence of carcinogenic activity in female rats based on the tumors of the thyroid gland, as well as uterine polyps in exposed animals. They said there was no evidence of carcinogenic activity in male or female mice. So they looked at mice and rats. In rats, they did find. So what does that mean? Well, it means that there is that potential. Now, we know that some places have banned certain ingredients. Back in 2020, I believe the Hawaii and Key West decided to ban oxybenzone and octinoxate, 2 common sunscreen ingredients. because, this was back in, I guess, 2020. And they say current evidence in this study was not sufficient to say that they cause adverse health outcomes. But, when somebody says, look, I want you to look at this, I think it's worth looking at. Here's the problem. All right. You have UVA and UVB radiation. UVA, those rays penetrate deeply into the epidermis and dermis. So UVA goes all the way. They could cause skin cancer, aging of the skin, wrinkles. UVB rays are shorter. They primarily affect the epidermis, and they are responsible for causing burns. So A causes aging and goes all the way. B causes burn. And you need UV rays to help make vitamin D in your body. We do need sun for our skin and to heal. But at certain amounts, it can cause free radicals and could cause changes. Now, a new study published by Chemical Research and Toxicology found octocrylene in many sunscreen and anti-aging products to degrade into benzophenone, a known carcinogen, mutagen, and endocrine disruptor. So the next layer of this is, are we maybe safe with the current products in sunscreen, but will they break down? Will they degrade? And I spoke a few years ago about how you have to discard your expired sunscreen because the degraded products could be carcinogenic. Now, listen, I buy in bulk when I need sunscreen, and Walmart has a 2-for-1, or it's cheaper when you buy 2 or 3. I buy that, and then we don't use it, and so it sits around for years. And when the kids are like, I need sunscreen, Mom, I go, oh, there's an extra bottle in my bathroom. The problem is if it's expired or degrades, there's a study saying a carcinogen can build up. So you need fresh, well-stocked, and ideally stored sunscreen. Now, how many of you leave your sunscreen in the trunk of the car? If that sunscreen is heating up, what byproducts are being made? When you go to the beach and you have your beach bag, that sunscreen can is piping hot because it's been sitting in the sun. These are things we need to think about. And I'm not anti-sunscreen. I do not want people getting melanoma. I want us protected. And SPF, we talked about sun protection factor. It looks at how your skin will burn and the time it takes for your skin to burn and what it could do to minimize that. So if your skin burns in 10 minutes at SPF of 30, you multiply 30 by 10, and reportedly you won't burn for 300 minutes. Not exactly, because you need to reapply, etc. An SPF of 15, if your skin burns in 10 minutes, means you have 150 minutes of protection. But, we are putting chemicals on our body to prevent cancer that could possibly have adverse effects themselves. I prefer sunblocks. I've seen less critique and fewer studies talking about the titanium dioxide and zinc oxide as opposed to the absorbing compounds like the oxybenzone. So I prefer the sunblock, but I don't want you to lather your whole body up. If you could wear protective clothing, I would do that. And try not to be out in the sun for hours. All right? Your body is not built to be out in the sun for hours. Your body was, you hunt, gather, and then you get back to the cave or you get in some shade. But if you're going to be doing a whole beach weekend or a whole Father's Day barbecue outside, that could be pretty trying on the skin. And when you add chemicals, I don't think they worsen sunscreen, but I think they in and of themselves might have issues. So to me, I prefer the block. I don't think I want a chemical absorbing something and trying to make it work. That I'm not as excited about. I prefer the sun block. When you apply it, it has to be applied 2 milligrams per centimeter square of skin, or basically a teaspoon per body part, Front of the chest, 1 teaspoon. Although with my chest, I need a couple more. Sorry. 1 teaspoon for the upper arm, leg, face, neck. It should be applied 15 minutes prior to you going out into the sun. Why? Because it needs to soak in. Again, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. But it needs to settle. It needs to dissipate. And then you have to reapply it every 2 hours. So if you're counting on 300 minutes of protection, you got to consider reapplying. 1-877-DOC-DOLLAR. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. So this was interesting. Wells Fargo has fired more than a dozen employees for pretending to work. This is getting ridiculous, people. You are making us look bad, and you are ruining remote work for people who really need to work remotely. But the workers were employed at Wells Fargo's Wealth and Investment Management Unit. They were let go, as they should be, after it was discovered that they were allegedly involved in a simulation of keyboard activity. According to disclosures filed with the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, the former employees were, quote, creating an impression of active work through simulation tools. Now, a spokesperson told Bloomberg that Wells Fargo holds employees to the highest standards and does not tolerate unethical behaviors. Daily Mail is reporting this and says that the disclosure does not specify if the employees were allegedly faking work from home. But apparently, there are little tools you could buy to make it look like your mouse is moving. Wells Fargo was not as strict about coming back to work as Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. But by 2022, Wells Fargo had a majority of its employees return to office to work under a hybrid flexible model. But simulating keyboard activity has become increasingly common and easily accessible during the pandemic. There are gadgets, I guess, sold on Amazon for $20, known as mouse movers or mouse jigglers. So if there's a software where your boss is watching your activity or you are connected and they have access to your screen, if you have something that moves your mouse or you hire your kid to just sit there and move the mouse, looks like you're working. This is a shame, people. Just do your jobs. Just do your jobs. Charles Scharf has been chief executive officer and president of the bank since 2019. He has been a financial services veteran for more than 3 decades. And it says in recent news, many banks have closed 79 branches. The industry is starting to offer more services online. And the brick and mortar locations are expensive. Do you notice that you're like, you want to go into the bank to get something, but you can't? They say do it online. I needed to buy euros. They said buy them online, but then it wasn't working. So I had to find a bank that I had a small account with just so I could go in there and do it. I like going into the bank, but it's expensive. And so brick and mortar locations are starting to get axed. But seeing people then, not working from home and doing these little tricks, there was one employer who, there was an article about how he caught his employee working a second job where every time they were supposed to log in, there was an excuse, or it looked like on the software, because apparently these employers are getting smart. They are very publicly, and you're aware that the software download accesses your screen so they could see what you're working on at home. And the person was, I guess, working on their other job, and they could see that. And, here's the thing. I get it. If you could work 2 jobs and get 2 full-time salaries, that's nice. But you're screwing over your first employer. And this working from home has gone too far. I think there are a lot of jobs you could do from home. I do telemedicine from home. And I'm very grateful. Sometimes I'm in my studio doing telemedicine. Sometimes I'm at home. But as long as I have a quiet workspace, it's private, I'm able to do my job. And I love working from home. I love it. But I also love going into the studio. I don't like doing my show from home. I like being in the studio like I am now. The sound quality is better. I like getting up in the morning. I like getting dressed. I love driving in my car. But, I understand many people, they have kids, they have pets, they have medical conditions. It's really cool to be able to work. I would rather people work than be on disability. If you could find a way to work from home, I think that's fantastic. My mom turns 80 this year. Don't say I said that, but she works from home sometimes. She sometimes is in the office, sometimes works from home. It keeps her busy. I love it. But when people take advantage, it ruins it for the rest of us. And we have basically reversed all the traditional sort of behaviors of you log in, you show up, you show you're working, you show you're being productive. But the one thing bosses really, really hate, one is lying, but 2 is riding the clock and not being productive. Now, there were studies that came out saying at-home productivity was fine. And I got to tell you, I was pretty productive. I saw 1,100 patients the month of December working from home. I work. If I have to work from home, I will be up at 6 a.m. I won't go to bed till 11 at night. I work. But not everybody's doing that. And if a boss is noticing that people are not being productive, they get axed. But a big thing that kills me about the whole remote work and the remote landscape is who wants to go into the hospital and be a nurse? Who wants to go into the doctor's office and work? Once people found that they could make money at home and work multiple jobs and be able to watch Netflix and be with their kitty cat or their dog or pick up their kids, now who is coming into the boots on the ground type of jobs? The hairstylist industry, hard to find people to work. Law enforcement, firefighters, because if you could work from home, it's hard to then wake up at a certain time. But some people, they feel like they can't even do that anymore. Really, it's only been a few years. So, I understand there's a lot of tricks. There's a lot of tricks of the trade and people who are taking advantage of their boss. And it's interesting because people think that there's a pass, that the boss or the man is evil, that the boss is taking advantage of you. People feel they're underworked or they're overworked and underpaid. Bosses feel you are overpaid and underworked. And it's always going to be like that. But I love it when I meet people who are like, look, there's a job to do. It has to be done. With my office, I didn't leave at 4:59 p.m. I let my staff go. But if referrals needed to be done or patients needed to be called, I stayed. A job has to be done. And I guess there's a lot of jobs out there where you just have to be a body. You just have, I don't know how you can charge for 8 hours of work and not be working. I don't know how these bosses are doing it. Because if 8 hours of work is 8 hours of work. And so we may forever struggle to get people to work online come into work if we have these easier options of remote. Now that bosses are saying, but you got to come back in, And people are like, well, I won't work for you then. Well, then fine. If you want a job, you got to come into the office. And it's funny because people say, oh my gosh, my boss is horrible. Why? What happened? What did he do? What did she do? I have to be at the office 3 days a week. As opposed to 5? Why is that bad? That's the way it was. But the longer this goes, the more it changes. And the powers that be love it. Because then you're surfing the internet, you're getting the news or the misinformation that people are trying to put at you. You know, they can't access you when you're at work. And, you know, throw at you the narrative but they could do that when you're at home on Facebook. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away.
Considered by most, optimized curcumin is one of the few bioavailable and highly absorbable curcumin products on the market. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch. Since most chronic diseases have inflammation, our optimized curcumin seems to be a perfect addition to any nutritional program. It makes sense to me that preventing or reducing inflammation is a key component to our overall health. The Mayo Clinic found that curcumin can decrease swelling and inflammation, has antioxidant properties, and research suggests that curcumin can prevent cancer, or at least slow the spread of cancer, and in many instances make chemotherapy more effective. It protects our healthy cells even from radiation. TotalWellness.com, where we help you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So I'm seeing the videos of Joe Biden, President Biden, as many of you are, and it's sad. I don't want to make fun of the president. I don't want to criticize him, but I see a man who is deteriorating, and it's sad. As a doctor, I want him to get the care he needs, and I do not want him to be pushed or supported, in artificially in a role that he should not be in. And when you see what happened at D-Day ceremony, I do not think he pooped in his pants. Everybody says he pooped in his pants. I know. And people, listen, here's the thing, guys. For those of you making stuff up and making fun of the president, I get it. I get it. People made fun of Trump. People make fun of the president. But we got a serious issue here. Nobody is going to listen to what the American public needs if it's being muddled with these altered videos and these sound bites. Somebody put the sound when he was, I guess it was near D-Day. He was supposed to sit at the D-Day ceremony and Jill's telling him not to sit and he bends down and you hear a no, that wasn't him. And it's a serious situation and we are not going to be able to address this seriously if we, distract his camp or the media with trying to say, well, that was false, that was false. We have enough video, audio evidence that he's struggling. And I think he confused Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, and he's during the Juneteenth ceremony, he looked like he was freezing. It's sad. I really feel for the guy, and I hate to see his multiple decade career now minimized to him being somebody with dementia, alleged dementia, not doing his job. Well, when his staff says no, it's misleading. He has sharp mental acuity. This is a piece of evidence to the contrary. Apparently, a report has come out saying that Biden's dogs, when they attack Secret Service, watched it repeatedly. It didn't intervene. They said President Biden repeatedly watched his German Shepherd commander attack Secret Service members who wished each other a safe shift as the number of incidents mounted. Apparently, some of them were urging the use of a muzzle. They say the number of dog attacks involving Commander, who the White House said in February was given away after more than 2 years, and former first dog Major, who had to be rehomed after attacking personnel. I guess there were over 36 attacks. And we are being told by the New York Post that President Biden reportedly accused a Secret Service member of lying about being attacked by Major during his first year in office, but was present for at least 3 separate attacks involving Commander. They say a previously unreported incident on September 12, 2023 featured a pair of bites in which Commander tore holes in a Secret Service member's suit as Biden took him for a walk in the Kennedy Garden along the south lawn of the White House. Now, why is this evidence? Because anybody who cares for a dog controls the dog, jumps on the dog quickly. When I walk the dog, I am more focusing on the dog than I am the cars and everything around me. And if I think the dog is going to bark or misbehave, I am on that dog. And now, my dog doesn't bite anybody, but still, let's say my dog wants to run over to another dog. That gets my focus, and that comes first. And it's obvious it's getting my focus. It looks like he's out of focus. Or he doesn't care. And I don't think the White House wants the narrative of him not caring and feeling his dogs are worthy enough to bite other individuals. Anybody who owns a dog would be on top of that. They say, while Biden and Commander were in the Kennedy Garden, I was standing halfway from the bookseller's lobby in the family theater. Biden opened the bookseller door, and as I started and said, something that got redacted, they said, as I started to walk towards him to see if he needed help, Commander ran through his legs, bit my left arm through the front of the jacket. I pulled my arm away and yelled, no. Now, they say in that incident, President Biden did yell something to Commander, but it's been redacted, so we can't see that. But, Biden, if he was running the country of sound mind, he would run his animals of sound mind. And so anybody who would have a pet such as this would immediately say, you know what? No, this is not sustainable. My dogs cannot be hurting it's your Secret Service. Your Secret Service are supposed to be there to protect you. They're not there to serve you tea. So wouldn't you be of the mindset, being commander-in-chief, that you would want your Secret Service to be 1,000% focused on your safety and not dog wounds? You don't want to hurt your Secret Service. There's not a lot of people that want to put their lives on the line for you. And so this is very, very troubling. And I know some people think we're making a bigger deal about the dogs and the dog biting and all that. First of all, didn't Biden want to stop workplace bullying? Isn't Biden a proponent of safety in the workplace? Things like Title IX. Well, then why are you letting your animals, they call it Commander and Chomp. Commander and Chomp. So look, I'm not going to go through all the little cases of where he was watching it happen, etc. But we have looming wars. Hezbollah attacking Israel from the north. Hamas still holding hostages, U.S. hostages, still under Hamas, that America is not able to get free. We have what's going on with China and Taiwan, Russia. We have El Salvadorian gangs coming across the border, ISIS plots of people coming across the border. Whoever is going to be in charge needs to be 1,000% focused and with it. And I don't want to see Biden fail. I want whoever our president is to do a damn good job. And day after day after day, it is looking like he is not in charge and is incapable of being in charge. And I'm sorry, if we're having a free election, we need to know who's running things. Is it Jill? Is it Kamala? Is it who is running things if it's not him? Because whoever that person is not doing a good job. Not with the economy, not with inflation, not with the EV mandates, not with the border, not with foreign policy. What kind of a look was that? Where he's just on a golf course looking around in the wrong direction. Okay, we need other countries to fear America. Lead by strength. You don't mess with us. Look at this. Hamas has American hostages? Are you flipping kidding me? You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Them having American hostages, if Israel can't get them out, there should be a joint American-Israeli rescue mission to get those hostages. And now we're being told that the current head of Hamas, they have no idea if they're still alive. Really? That's on you. And what's happening? You're seeing subways. You're seeing the streets of New York being taken over by Hamas supporters. Are you kidding me? This is not leadership. We need help. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.